Well, I want to say sorry the way I ended the part two. Actually, I'm running on a time of 30 minutes per video, and every 30 minutes I need to go take water. So I'm supposed to introduce the next course before my timed out video. I mean, my video actually cuts at 30 minutes immediately before I could say end it properly. So I'm actually sorry the way I ended part two, and I hope you forgive me why I said that. We ended the last class when we looked at um, approaches, ways of developing your supplier, all right, and the approaches you can actually use to get the best benefit within your supplier relationship. And then we're gonna say you should have a common supplier assessment. If you're having more than one supplier, try to benchmark your processes and supplier create a good supplier association. And also now let's look at what we call a topic called supply chain network. Supply chain network. Now, the core of logistics and supply chain management aims on creating and maintaining a network of relationship both outside as well as inside the organization. So, a network will consist of nodes, all right, which represent the business or actors such as suppliers, producers, customers, and service providers. Now, the link between the nodes, all right, represent relationships between these actors. All right, so relationships between the actors are likely to breach as they give one actor access to resources, all right, of another. All right, so if you look at your slide, if you look at slide 17, it gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. The actors, the suppliers, the manufacturers, the P, which is the plant, warehouse, and market, and the relationship, the links to the relationship that exists between them. So it's a node, all right, that gives the relationship that exists between each of them within the supply chain. So in business setting, network relationship between firms have paramount interest. So an understanding and of the concept of supply chain relationship and the specific process and activities occurring among the networks of trading partners in the supply pipeline is closely associated to the nature of business networks. So the function of business relationship can be characterized by three essential components, all right, which are one, the actors, all right, resources, and activities. Primary function of relationship corresponding to activities, resources, and actors are efficiency through are efficient through interlinking activities which are mutually based on self-interest of the actors. So activities performed by two actors through their relationship can be adapted to each all right other so that their combined efficiency is improved. Now, such as we'll talk about efficiency. We'll talk about idea like such as just-in-time exchange by working together, and the two actors will learn that by cooperating, they raise the benefit of what each other, the benefit each of them receives. Now, giving the example of the case study of Boss Corporation, I said with their supplier. Now, the concept of just-in-time is the fact that boss created that relationship with the supplier to say, please, I don't want to hold the inventory. All right, you hold the inventory when I need it and the time I need it. Please supply me. All right, now, and that helped Boss Corporation to improve its efficiency. All right, and by working together, both the supplier and the organization processing or manufacturing the plant tends to receive great benefits. All right, so the primary function of relationship on the links, all right, must correspond to the activity, all right, and also with resources and also with the actors, and in such a way that it will create stronger link and efficiency, all right, within the activities of the supply chain. So secondary functions, all right, are caused by existence and connection between relationships. Now, this relates to chains of activity involving more than two firms. Alright, resources developed in this type of relationship are important to those engaged in the relationship. So they may have implication for resource of parties engaged in connected relationship. Alright, because right now we're looking at what? Uh, the supply chain network. So the supply chain network actually defines, all right, the relationship between different actors, all right, within the supply chain. And like I said, the first primary function of the network is to what? Provide corresponding, function is provide corresponding relationship to the activity of resources and actors within the chain. And the secondary function also uh, we should be able to cause the existence of connection between relationships, all right, that is capable of relating to chains of activity involving more than two firms, all right, working together to supply the organization resources they need. So innovation in today's day, we discover that innovation developed as result of their interaction in doing a particular work of supporting each other will go a long way to improve the performance and the profitability of such an organization. So it can therefore be said that a network is not a word of individual, all right, and isolated transaction. It is not a word of one individual organization, but rather it's a word of interaction between one or more organizations working together. So it consists of series of direct and indirect ties from one actor to a collection of what? Others. So it is close to, it is a closed set of actors forming the largest set of what? Interconnection. Supplier, my supplier, supplier, supplier. My customer, customer, customer. Who is my supplier, supplier? How many suppliers supply? How many suppliers, supplier do I need to get this product to the market? And how many warehouse or network of distributors do I need to get this my product that I'm supplying to where it is needed? All right. Ford in 2002 defined a network relationship as a company portfolio of relationship and the rights and and the rights and rights obligation that go with it. All right. I come again. Ford defines network relationship as a company portfolio of relationships. All right, relationships and the rights and obligations that go with it. So network structure allows organizations to bring resources together on long-term basis to reduce costs. All right, so this is why most growing organizations are increasing turning to global network as a means of gaining access to low-cost overseas inputs. So network relate to all aspects of supply chain, including marketing and logistic distribution. Now, to get good quality in terms of this relationship, it could extend, all right, outside the shores of your country. In terms of production, I can get a material at a cheaper price in Nigeria and take the raw material to China for production. Because if you look at the supply chain of products in Nigeria, the biggest problem we have is the conversion process into finished goods. Because why? The infrastructures like power, good road networks are not there. So thereby it increases the cost of product within the country. So if we take out the issue of power and labor and double taxations you get from government agencies, and you go to other countries that are cheaper, the ease of doing business is okay, all right, it seems to gain more. That is why you see countries like Unilever PLC, they've moved production to Ghana. Is it Michelin or Dunlop? They've moved to Ghana because the ease of doing business is good. All right. Many researchers within the supply chain today, within supply chain management subject area, have claimed that a general paradigm shift is taking place. All right, within marketing, focusing on relationship management instead of managing separate, discrete transactional exchange with business counterparts. All right, so it is actually evolving, it is changing, it is telling us that there's a need for more alliance, there's a need for more collaboration, there's a need for more joint venture, there's a need for more partnership, there's more need for more integration. if we need to get to where we need to get to. So an organization cannot be everywhere within the supply chain. An organization can pick a place within the supply chain, all right, and make do with it, and focus on that area. They actually have their competitive advantage. If you are good in distribution, an organization will pick distribution. That's why most manufacturing firms would like and would love to outsource, all right, the distribution of their goods to what, a distributor who does the distribution and the marketing, and this outsource the transportation to a company who have fleet of trucks, all right, to manage that for them, so that they can actually cut excess weight, all right, and what, cut cost. Now we're talking about supply chain management and managing in I mean our supply chain network. How do we manage the supply chain network itself? So that takes me to the next topic, which is called managing the supply chain network. Now, supply chain managers of today will need to evaluate, maintain, and review their company network position by considering and consolidating some of the elements of their current position. Now, you can't go forward without looking at where you are right now. Alright, so you will need to evaluate, you need to maintain and review your network. Who are my network of my who are my supplier? What is the network of my supply? Who do my supplier get his supplies for? You need to find a way to get a better view of those things. All right, who will distribute my product? What mode of transport will best fit the distribution of my product? All right, to the final consumer. How do I ensure that my goods get to the final person that needs the product? All right. So, for example, a company may choose to maintain its existing distribution relationship through a wholesaler. Or alternatively, a firm may want to create a new element by developing a new supply chain relationship to increase the range of their offering. So supply chain managers should carry out an overall assessment of their company dealing, all right, with the surrounding network, in order to determine to what extent it can influence those in the same network to achieve their business ends without major hindrance. So without major hindrance to others in the network. So an example would be a fashion company called that looks at where I've seen this proper integration, where I've seen supply chain managers carrying out proper assessment, looking at how it can influence suppliers within the same network, and having done that, they've achieved good benefits without hindering others doing their work. Is when you look at it's Marks and Spencer who insists that their suppliers should produce, all right, to its own design and determine where to source fabric from and how suppliers should deliver their products. All right, because it's very important. Sorry, how you source your product. I remember some of us will remember the days of black diamond. I mean the blood diamond in Liberia Civil War, where companies who sourced their diamonds from Liberia were blacklisted. And because final consumers don't want that blood of innocent people in their life and in their hands, abstain from buying their product. And also, we have an example of where you have products or manufacturers who go to source fabric or raw materials. Because remember, the first source of supply comes from the farmers or from the mines, or are mined from the ground. And where you have incidents of child labor and the rest, and people come and NGOs say, oh, these guys are using child laborers to mine their product, and a big brand is using it, it can blacklist them, and customers will not want to buy such a product. So it is very important that you find a way to assess, all right, and manage that supply chain manager. And like what Marks and Spence did, they insist that their supplier should produce to its own design, and also they determine where their supplier can source fabric from and how they should find a way to deliver that fabric to them, so that it could be a show of quality and standard within the organization. Having said that, let's look at the term called the supply chain network proper. Now, when looking at that, I'm looking at some example. Do I promise to use local example? some of our organizations do not have data published outside. Maybe they are scared. All right, and most of them who have done things, their model is not what we can actually practice as a supply chain manager that we can use. So, supply chain network. The ability of a firm to manage its supply chain network may itself be considered a core competency. All right, the ability to manage your supply chain network. All right, it's a core competence to you, a plus. So this is certainly a case when you look at Dell Computer Corporation, which practice by, I mean, when the guy Michael Dell called it virtual integration. Why not? They said, why not all organizations and are dependent? Why all organizations are dependent on their supply chain partners, as Dell is current. Current industry trends suggest that more organizations are focusing on developing only few competency and outsourcing everything else. Now, this puts a premium to an organization's ability to select good partners and coordinate the flow of information and material between their partners. So, as like Dell did, you can decide to choose how do I develop my partner suppliers. Because if you look at Dell computers, if you look at the companies of computer, it comes from different areas. And when you have your microprocessor product supplied by Intel Core, Intel still have its own supplier. So you collect a component part from here, you collect the component part from here to make one. Alright, so you, you can actually look at what is my core competence. What area do I need to do? Managing my supplier, do I need to source? Can I source my product myself, or do I need a supplier to source it for me? Or have different suppliers giving me manufacturing my different component part from different part of the world and bringing it to me for me to just couple, all right, and install my software on it and move. But no matter what you do in terms of sourcing, outsourcing, you do not outsource your what? Your core. So for supply chain network to be effective, there's a need for integrated supply chain where you have your product flow effect, I mean flowing uh, seamlessly. All right, you have a good business process of what? Customer relationship management. All right, you have customer service management, you have demand management process in place, you have a process to ensure that orders are fulfilled. All right, you have a business process in place where manufacturing flow, all right, are properly managed. All right, you have a system or policy for proper procurement and also a policy for research and development, and also let's not forgetting return that goes back to you. So in order to manage our integrated supply chain, you will actually look at all this process of I mean customer management, customer service, demand management, manufacturing flow management, order fulfillment and procurement for you to get there effective. So how do information flow? You understand, like we're using the fabric and all those things. You can flow down from your tier one supplier to your tier two supplier, where you eventually as an organization procure, manage your material, manage production, distribute, do your marketing and sales, get customer, get consumer. So managing all this process of supplier one, supplier two, purchasing, material management, all this needs to be considered for effective uh, integrated supply chain management. So you as an organization, it's a plus for your side for an organization who can properly manage its supply chain, because supply chain is large. It's large. But if you can't even get to the entire part of it, at least you should know your first three, four, I mean your first three suppliers and your next three customers, so that you can actually know how you can actually ensure product flow to them. All right, and manage where you know your customer, you manage your customer very well, do your customer service to them very well, manage your supplier very well, get good procurement policies on ground, and the rest we follow for proper integration. All right, so like there are reasons for slow growth of integrated supply chain management today. One was integrated because supply chain is large, so you can't purposely look at integrating all the entire components of supply chain into one for an organization. So you agree with me that despite the acceptance of the concept of integrating and managing supply chain, the growth, especially in Nigeria here, of integrated supply chain management has been slowed down, have been slowed. So the reason for the slow growth include is include one, life of guidelines for creating alliance with your supply chain partner. All right, especially when you have so many suppliers you are dealing with, where you have a free market, all right, or you have many suppliers, many buyers of a product. So you feel to I mean the guidelines will be weak. There are also one reason for slow growth of integrated supply chain management is the fact that there will be a failure to develop measures for monitoring if you have an alliance, monitoring alliance. And also, another reason is the inability to broaden supply chain vision beyond procurement or product distribution to encompass larger business process like customer management, like research and development, like you factor in customer services, order fulfillment, and procuring the right quality product. So that inability to integrate, I mean, their inability to broaden that supply chain vision beyond that procurement becomes a problem for most organizations. That is the reason why we can't really integrate. And also, one again is lack of trust inside and outside a company, in the sense that nobody wants to tell you, because for you to integrate properly means me as an organization or you as an organization we need to actually go beyond the organization to see the books of your part. I mean, the organization that you want to actually partner with. All right, know some of their secrets, and some of them will be scared that you will know their secret and you can actually sell it out to competitors. Even you yourself will not want your organization, your supplier to know your trade secret, because you want to have the ability to negotiate with price. All right, and also there's another reason for the slow growth of integration within the supply chain is um, the internal organizational resistance to the concept of integration, because a department might feel if you're integrating and I'm bringing a supplier to be in my country, to work in my organization. Now it poses the threat that look, some people might be losing their job, especially those within the procurement department or those within the store or warehouse department. So that resistance will, will be there, and the process of integration will be frustrated by those who want to resist that concept. So also another reason for the slow or growth of integrated supply chain management is the lack of buying by top managers, and also lack of integrated information system, and also in Nigerians like her technology to go with it. All right. So these are some of the reasons why logistic system within Nigeria is actually slow. So I would say that I want to give us a task to do, to write something in not less than, in not more than 1,000 words. All right. I want you to please one on the create an organization of your choice. All right, an upstream and downstream and linkages between some organization or industries. Describe, write, and also give me a diagram of any industry. It might be furniture, it might be the petroleum industry, it might be fabric industry. All right, or with various activities that are taking place within the upstream and downstream. And also uh, kindly help me uh, looking at your own Nigeria of your choice. Write down some of the reasons why integrated logistics is having a problem, other than what I have said. All right, in Nigeria. All right. So I want to take water now. I'll come back and we'll discuss a global supply chain. All right. Thank you very much.